The one thing that really surprised me about Chinese audiences was I was told that they're very cool, calm, and collected. They will applaud, but they're not gonna stand up and cheer. And don't expect too much from them, but don't take it personally. They just are like that. Couldn't be farther from the truth. These people are warm. They love music. They express themselves. They made as much noise as any American audience has ever made, or any South American audience, and so on. As far as the government was concerned, I was treated perfectly. They changed nothing that I wanted to say during the concert or do during the concert. I was allowed to perform maybe 400 yards away from Tiananmen Square 4 days before the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square incident. So they were tolerant. They were accepting because I was accepting towards them. But I was allowed to do my concert and say the same things that I say anywhere else in the world. And I could see China is such a big country. It's a billion too. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are not educated. There is cities that are extremely developed, like Guangzhou and Beijing and Shanghai. And then if you go inland, you go into places to where people are maybe lived 200-300 years ago. I can see how Chiang Mai has a big problem in trying to move an entire nation of that magnitude to any direction. So I sympathize with them. I think the website is a very powerful tool. It's the future. Uh, and I think it's, besides my music, transmitting my music, I think it's a very powerful tool, and it's going to reshape the planet as we know it, because now human beings will be able to communicate directly with each other. And even though, yes, it's good for me, I can put my music on it, it could be exposed to a lot of people that normally I wouldn't be able to be exposed to, or I wouldn't have access to. I always look beyond that. I think the fact that anyone can talk to anyone, and if they can't do it right this minute, in the next decade they will be able to, will change the way we think about each other. And I think it'll bring people closer together. It'll make it more difficult for the leaders of our societies to engage in nasty activities, clandestinely and so on. I think it'll just reshape the whole planet. My audience has been great towards me. Even people I meet on the street, they tend to be respectful. Um, the letters that I get from my fans are sometimes move me to tears, and that's, I'm not exaggerating. There are stories that tell me. The letters are not so much when we love your music, and they're not usually centered around that, even though they usually pay me a compliment of one sort or another. It's about they're feeling, most of them begin by, I've never written a fan letter before, but I thought you should know that. That's probably one of the most common fan letters written to me. And then they begin to tell me a story of how my music relates to their life, how it helps them go through one situation or another. For example, people who go through chemotherapy and the pain of chemotherapy, and how much the music helps them endure the pain and be uplifted and go through the battle. Um, the music has been used for a myriad other reasons. For example, when people lose a loved one, whether it's a wife or a father or son and so on. And I never had any idea that I would be affecting people in that way. And it's amazing. Pregnant mothers write me and say, they play the music for the baby. They put the speaker right on their tummy and play the music. I guess it calms the baby down. I don't know. Or they play it when they give birth to their children, or they play it during funerals or weddings. And as an artist, to have this kind of connection with human beings, any human beings, that your art could be used in some of the most important parts of our lives, it is a confirmation. I hope that people will enjoy this new album. I certainly enjoyed making it. It's been a lot of fun. Um, It took me about a year to do it, and I feel it's a very consistent and very enjoyable album. I think it could be used in a lot of different parts of your life. Um, it does not demand your attention, your undivided attention, but I think it has a very strong mood that's consistent. I just hope people enjoy it. Water has been a big part of my life. I grew up right next to it. I spent most of my days in it when I was a kid. I love this place because it reminds me of Kalamata. It reminds me of where I was born. If you're born like that, and I didn't leave there until I was 18 years old, it's in you. It's in your bones. This place is spectacular. It's state-of-the-art digital recording studio, which was a dream of mine to have. What the studio enabled me to do is fantastic. Took a long time to build. Had a lot of people working on this. Took a couple of years to design it and build it. But now, hopefully, I'll be working in here for the next decade or so. Creating for me is one of the most powerful, deliberate acts that a human being can do. Music, I feel, is the most powerful and very direct language known to man. It can communicate across borders and language barriers, and essentially it bypasses logic and speaks directly to your soul. Music can communicate such delicate and subtle emotions that are next to impossible to describe with words. If I do my job right, the listener should experience the level that I was at while I was writing the music. I took a year off after the Taj Mahal and the Forbidden City concerts. After I finished the last tour, which was about 110 concerts, I was very tired, to say the least. So the first thing I did is I packed up and I went to Greece and stayed with my parents until I felt that I was healed. I traveled a lot. I went back to a lot of the countries that I toured at, but this time I had time to stay and drink their wine and breathe their air, eat their food, and just be with the people, and filled up with experiences, which I needed. So when I got here and it was time to record, I was bursting with ideas. I came in with an open mind. I had no idea what the album was going to sound like. I work on one song at a time, and I'm completely consumed by it. First, I know what the emotion is, what the song is going to feel like, before I know what the instruments, what the rhythm, what the speed, what the sound, what the melody, anything. I started a year ago. It was the most effortless album that I have ever done. It is a new direction. I think I have learned a lot in the past 20 years of working. It is very different, obviously, than the Acropolis and the Tribute albums, which were concert albums. I hope that people will enjoy this new album. I certainly enjoyed making it. I've learned a lot the last couple of years. It was actually fairly difficult years, with the exception of recording the album. There was a lot to be learned as far as understanding where I've been, where my career is at, what is the meaning of all this, what have I been doing for the last 15 years, why have I worked so hard, and essentially what is the meaning, and trying to understand it and put it into perspective. And I feel maybe now I'm putting it into a very good perspective, and thus I'm free and I'm happy, and I hope it continues like that, because then I'm going to want to write a lot more music.